New York City officials say that Hart Island, which for decades has been used as a final resting place for people who died unclaimed, will also be used for unclaimed coronavirus victims. Mayor Bill de Blasio responded Friday to concerns that mass burials would be necessary because of the high number of bodies caused by the pandemic. Drone photos appeared to show groups of caskets being covered with the dirt in long trenches on Hart Island. There will be no mass burials on Hart Island, he tweeted. Everything will be individual and everybody will be treated with dignity. The mayor said in the tweet, the heartbreaking numbers of deaths we are seeing means we are sadly losing more people without family or friends to bury them privately. Those are people who will be buried on Hart Island with every measure of respect and dignity New York City can provide. This is not a new procedure, the mayor said at a news conference, adding, it's a sad topic. Press Secretary Freddie Goldston told CNN on Thursday, it is likely that people who've been passed away from coronavirus will be buried on the island in the coming days. Hart Island has been used by the city as a public cemetery for over 150 years and is managed by the Department of Correction. The Hart Island burials are mostly people who've been unclaimed as the city's morgue for anywhere from 30 to 60 days, Goldston said. Over 1 million people are interred there. The city is transferring unclaimed bodies to Hart Island to make way for another coronavirus victims whose bodies will be claimed, Goldston said. New rules from the medical examiner's office say bodies will be taken to the island if they go unclaimed for 2 weeks. Only people who have not been claimed by relatives or allowed will be buried there, Goldston highlighted. Despite the new rule from medical examiner, Goldston said as long as morgue officials make contact with a relative within 14 days, they will not be moved to Hart Island. Those are people who, for 2 weeks, have not been able to find anyone who says, I know that person, I love that person, I will handle the burial, Goldston said. These are people who have made zero contact with the family. Usually about 25 people are buried on this island each week, Goldston said. But since coronavirus began claiming victims in the US, she said there are 25 people buried there each day. The coronavirus pandemic has now killed over 100,000 around the world, AFP reported. This coincided with the festival of Easter whereby churches remain empty across the world, as people were advised to stay at home to practice social distancing. A few days ago, the World Health Organization (WHO) had claimed how lifting lockdowns too early could lead to a second wave and would be a catastrophe. More than half of the world population is currently self-isolating. Be it New York or New Delhi, businesses remain closed. Schools have been forced shut, and the International Monetary Fund recently claimed that this is the worst economic fallout since the 1930s. As of now, the number of infections stands at roughly 1.6 million. The pandemic has taken the lives of over 100,859 people. Europe remains the hardest hit with 70% deaths recorded there. The epicenter of the pandemic has shifted twice, first from China to Europe, then from Europe to North America. The United States, the current epicenter of the virus, recorded 2,000 deaths a day, a first for any country. Yesterday, researchers showed optimism and claimed that curve was beginning to flatten. Trump, the president of the United States, claimed that the infection rate was near the peak, and his plans to reopen the U.S. economy as soon as possible. Without question, it's the biggest decision I've ever had to make, Trump said. He was very tough, suggesting his awareness of the risk associated with his reopening too quickly. But you know what? Staying at home leads to death also, he said, while alluding to the economic losers. As many as 168 United States citizens were flown from the city abroad to separate special Air India flights on Friday. The passengers on board the two special flights will first be flown to Mumbai, from where they will be further connected to their destination in the United States on a Delta Airlines flight. Meanwhile, the US mission in India has also started sending confirmations for another repatriation flight for US citizens, which will depart on Sunday. The first special Air India flight, an Airbus A320 AI-1615 arrival AI-1616 departed from Mumbai on Friday at around 3 p.m. with 70 passengers, including 69 adults and 1 infant. The second flight, also an Airbus A320 AI-1617 arrival AI-1618 departure, carried 98 US citizens, including 96 adults and 2 infants, to Mumbai at 4:24 p.m. The passengers were to be further connected via the Delta Airlines flight from Mumbai to their final destination in the United States. Making his way on the flight was Hyderabad origin Vijay Sharma. Sharma, a US citizen, had come to the city in November on a vacation, but his flight back on March 28 got cancelled. I wanted to go back to Orlando and began the process to get on the two repatriation flight a week ago. He said, adding that the US consulate employees had been very helpful throughout the entire process. A bus from Vijayawada was also arranged for US citizens to arrive at the Hyderabad airport. While the number of passengers on the bus could not be confirmed, consular employees had made arrangements for those traveling to clear the lockdown restrictions in order to reach the city. The sources said at least 2 more flights were expected for the repatriation of US citizens for Hyderabad to Mumbai and onward to Atlanta in the US. The repatriation flights to the United States are being made available from Mumbai and New Delhi.